I believe I was introduced to Aesop, and the first feeling I remember experiencing was, why don't I understand this? Why don't I get this? And it annoyed me because it made me feel like, is there something wrong with me? I almost felt challenged. I didn't like that there was something that it was beating me. It was like, why can't I tackle this? And most people would just be immediately turned off, like, oh, I don't know what that is. But I was more like confused and I wanted to understand it. And that thing there, trying to understand it, like I wanted to crack the code. Like, why is this so difficult for me? He was very poetic. And some of it was, a lot of it in certain different times was very coded. Other times it wasn't very coded, but it was presented in such a form where it was maybe the tone of his voice might have been a little high pitched. There's a lot going on in the beat. He's speaking quickly. There are all of these things that might be repellents to certain listeners. For me, I was so intrigued by the lyricism of it all that either I didn't notice those things or they didn't bother me, because I was so into this next level of lyricism. At that time there was a great divide. Aesop Rock, I think in particular, his rise is kind of what I feel one of the main things that started that divide with this is nerd rap. Do you remember that?
I remember that time. People call it nerd or like backpacker or whatever, but it didn't.
But like to be a backpacker was okay. Specifically, these guys, Def Jokes, they were accused of being nerd rappers.
No, I don't remember that. I remember just experimental types.
Yeah, no, that was a big thing. This nerd rap label that was being put on them. But yeah, there's nobody quite like Aesop Rock. I think that Aesop Rock is in a class of his own. I like his later material even more so than an album like Labor Days, but it's just that Labor Days marks a certain point, a certain period in my life, and I think what it represented in the culture at the point in time in which it was presented. You know what I mean? The mark that it made, I think, holds a lot of meaning.
All right, let's look at some Aesop Rock lyrics, and I want you to let me know what you take from it.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with this first verse. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing, but it's the first verse from the song Daylight from Labor Days.
Okay.
Okay, here it goes. Put one up for Shackle Me Not, Clean Logic Procreation. I did not invent the wheel. I was the crooked spoke adjacent. While the triple sixers lassos keep angels roped in the basement, I walk the block with a halo on a stick poking your patience.
We got to take it piece by piece. So let's go to the first line. Put one up for Shackle Me Not, Clean Logic Procreation. Put one up, right? So put your hands up for Shackle Me Not, for free, Clean Logic Procreation. So the creation of things that are logically sound and the freedom to do so. What's the next line?
I did not invent the wheel. I was the crooked spoke adjacent.
Okay, like, don't credit me for brilliance. I'm just fucked up. I'm just another. I'm more damaged. I'm another tormented artist. I'm who's functioning as an observer and a contributor.
While the triple sixers lassos keep angels roped in the basement.
Yeah, I walk the block with a halo, poking your patience.
Okay.
So basically, while the devil worshippers or the wicked keep angels roped in the basement, while they hold them down and enslave them, I'm walking your block with a halo like they didn't get me.
He's got like a whole fucking song with this shit, a whole albums with this shit. He's like modern day Shakespeare.
And if you can bring, and we can go through this whole shit and I'll give you meanings and explanations for it. Okay, yeah, you can keep going if you want.
Y'all catch a 30-second flash visual, dirty cooperative, and med platoon. Bloom head trip,
split ridiculous.
fathom the splicing of first generation, fuck up with trickle down anti-hero smack.
What's the first part?
Y'all catch a 30-second flash visual.
Y'all catch a 30-second flash visual. You catch a vision, like think of an acid flashback.
Dirty cooperative med platoon.
And med?
Dirty cooperative med platoon.
Okay, 30 cooperative med platoon doing drugs.
Okay, I don't see it. Bloom head trip split ridiculous.
Bloom head trip split ridiculous. Yeah, like this is a trip. So like all of this shit seems to be about fucking drugs right here.
Fathom the splicing of first generation, fuck up with trickle down anti-hero smack.
Smack what? What's the next line?
Kraken. I pace me game to 0 hour completion, cretin splash.
I mean, essentially what it is at this point, it's just deep coded poetry that you have to keep unraveling, right? And at some point you might get to a place where it's like, I interpret it one way, you interpret it another way. But when you commit yourself to the, code cracking of this writing with this much depth, it's going to advance you as a listener, and which in turn is going to advance you as a writer. So for me, these are, because that's the thing, you got to I listen to hip hop as a rapper. I'm not listening to hip hop as a hip hop head.
You're studying and growing and learning.
Yeah. So that was the thing for me. Now, some of these other albums I mentioned as a kid, I was listening as a hip hop head, only built for Cuban links. And it was, I'm smoking weed and the way these sounds are, the mood, the vibe, everything I'm getting, Aesop Rock, it was about, for me, it was, I'm in New York, I'm trying to be the illest, you know what I'm saying? And you got motherfuckers like this floating around. It's like, you fuck. Like now I got this shit to contend with. Like,
after all the battles that you've overcome, now you hit the boss.
Like this exists. Fuck. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, Jesus, like to try to tackle this shit, it's just like, nah, let's peacefully coexist. I'm a fan.
Yeah, shout out to Aesop Rock.